Hello there. So this is an Xbox One headset that my son has, and he told me the other day that it wasn't working. The headphone part is working, but the microphone part isn't. And I suspect that the problem has something to do with the fact that it is the cable is broken right there. This is the part that plugs into the controller, and so I suspected that's probably the problem. So I thought that while I was trying to see if I can fix it, I'll make a good little teardown slash fix it video. So anyway, so I think the first thing we want to do is figure out how to open this. There's no obvious screws, but there is a seam along here. So I'm thinking that if I pull on that, you can maybe see that that wants to separate. So I'm thinking that that does separate. This other side doesn't want to come off as much or as easily. Let's see if we can get it. Hopefully I didn't break any tabs. Looks like there might have been one tab right there that broke off. I'm not sure. Oh, no, there's one that, yeah, that one broke. Okay, well, so that was a little snap tabs. That sort of happens with this sort of thing. Kind of unavoidable sometimes. If anything, you can, I don't know, dab a little. I don't think it's critical. Should just go back on just fine. So looks like we have some Torx screws in there. Of course. Actually, like Torx, it's not as annoying as it as I once felt like it was, especially when you get into the T4 maybe, especially when you do like woodworking, where you've really got to, or anything else where you've really got to apply a lot of torque. They don't strip out as easily. These outer ones are black and the inner ones are silver, so I'll have to try and remember that. Whenever I'm taking apart something with a lot of screws, like a laptop or anything like that, and you know, the screws are different sizes and things like that, what I often do is I'll take the screw out and then I'll put it back in upside down, so it sticks out like that, and then I'll put a piece of like painter's tape, blue tape or the green tape or whatever, over it. A lot of times on like a laptop, the holes, the pockets for the screws are deep enough that they actually sit flat. But even then, even on like this where it sticks out, you can put a piece of blue tape over it. But in this case, I mean 4 screws. Yeah, obviously you can remember where they go. But on something like a laptop or something with a lot of screws, you know, it can get pretty hairy trying to remember where all the screws go. Okay, so we've got. Oh, I think I missed one. There's always one. Yep, and that just comes right off, and things are falling out. Make sure I get that screw out of there so I can set it in the pile with the rest. We've got the membrane here. These are just little metal pads. If you can hear the clicking, sort of standard, cheap. And then we've got the wires here. So unfortunately, a couple things. One is one of those wires at least is like going to be one of those annoying enamel coated wires. That outer one, that's probably a ground. And then it looks like we're definitely going to lose some length, but hopefully not too much. Grab my simps here. Actually, I think what I want to try first, let's see here. Just switch this to continuity test. Just put it back in buzzer mode. Okay, so I'm going to see if this looks like this comes off, and I want to see, that's where the mic is. Yep, that just came right off. Okay. I want to see if I can get any continuity between the connectors on the mic and where it terminates on the board. Okay, so that's the white wire. So it must be the ground wire that's broken. Because that's what I'm not getting. Okay. Unfortunately, though, I mean, where it's broken, there's no room to just sort of cut and make a new splice. I'm going to have to actually cut it there, see if I can salvage this strain relief, which I don't think I can. I think it's melted on there, and then unsolder it from these wires from the board, and then resolder it. So we'll lose, you know, a couple inches or so. So I'll just cut it, and I'm not gonna cut it right on the brick. I'm gonna go a little ways up, and just simp the wire. One thing that's going to be annoying is that, first off, this cable is flat, which is sort of annoying. And then the other thing is I'm going to cut these off, but I'm going to keep them there for now so I can remember which wire goes where. I'm going to see if I can salvage this this strain relief. They put a knot in it, so it kind of leads me to believe that it's not welded, but when I pulled that before, it looked like it was. Let's see if we can show that out. Yeah, I don't know, it's worth, just have to stick some zip ties on the end of it, or tie it in a knot or something quick. I'm going to just before I start, so let's see, so bare, white, black, blue. That's just so I know in that orientation it's the, let's see here, so it's the bare wire, white, black, and blue. Bring over my trusty pan of ice here, and hours later, we'll have it unscrewed and get that in there fairly decently. Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna pop these wires off again. I've got it noted what wires go where. It will get slightly loud. I'm going to turn my fan on. Okay, so one of the things on this enamel coated wire, particularly the spare one, I'm not sure about these other ones in here. They kind of look like they might be as well, but so basically, so that's a bare wire, and they do that because a lot of times in these types of headsets, fairly like the cheaper ones, I think. Anyway, they run these enamel coated wires. And they can actually run multiple wires in the same main plastic shielding, the black, which is the black part on this one, the black plastic on this one. And then they don't have to have individually coated or shielding, I don't know if that's the right word, but anyway, coated wires like this. So they can run just these bare wires in there. And I've already got some solder on this one a little bit before I zoomed in so you could see better, but they don't want to twist together. They're difficult to work with, so you've got to really get in there and twist. And then I've got a fairly warm iron, or hot iron, and I got a decent amount of length, and I'm just gonna try to get some solder to tin this wire. It's two things I'm trying to do. One is burn off that coating, and then the other is just to tin it like you normally would do, just to make it easier to get it on the pad. And that there's also, like on a lot of these, and this one too, is a nylon or fiber string or whatever that they put in there, I think, just to give it some strength. These just, you've gotta, takes patience, and you can hopefully see some of that bubbling off. I've got quite a bit of solder on there, a nice blob on the tip of my iron that I'm just running along there. And maybe there's a better way of dealing with this, but this is the way I've done it, and it makes for a very nasty looking wire, but it does work. Clean off the, you'll definitely want to clean off the tip of your iron. Leave that garbage on there. Okay, so now if I were to take my meter, and again it's in continuity, and then over to, so now we've got some continuity in that wire. And the other thing you could test as well, just to be 100% sure, depending on your level of paranoia, is Yep. Okay. So that way we know that we've got continuity between the headset and at least this wire, which the initial testing we didn't. And just a little bit of solder on there. Actually, I need to turn my iron down from doing that, tinning that wire. Okay, and I will just trimming a little bit off of that initial that bare wire, just to make it a little bit shorter. And okay, so there's the first one. So all four of these wires are coated. So we have to do the same thing to this white wire as well. So again, I'm gonna twist this as much as I can, and it just broke off. Yay! Super. Okay, so let's try and get these wires soldered on. Again, I have I've got the camera in macro mode, so but I've got you know, a note of where each wire goes, and hopefully we can get this get this to work. Put a little solder on the one thing when you're doing a repair on a commercially available product is it's probably going to have lead-free solder. So one thing you want to do, especially if you're trying to desolder something, is put a little, generally speaking, me at least, as a hobbyist, I use leaded solder. It's easier to work with, and you know, I'm not eating this stuff, so I'm not really worried about being poisoned by it or anything like that. But you know, as long as you don't lick your fingers after you're done or anything like that. But anyway, on a commercial product, they're probably for various regulations and compliance and stuff like that, they're probably going to have lead-free solder, which takes a little bit higher of a temperature to melt because there's not as much lead in it. Anyway, so one thing, especially when you're trying to take a component off a commercially produced board, is if you put a little leaded solder in there, then it will help lower the temperature that the commercial lead-free solder will melt at, so it'll make it easier to get that component off. So I've got an excess of wire on this obviously, but will trim that. This is, again, because the wire itself doesn't want. Okay, so I've got that's a pretty good connection. So that looks very messy. Hopefully it's workable though with them. So that's white, so the next one is blue. Blue is kind of the one I'm worried about. That one I'm not, I didn't feel very confident that I got a good connection, but we'll find out here, or not connection, but got a good solder. Blue and black are actually the two that I'm worried about. And the last one is the black. This is super ugly. Super ugly. I don't think I'm going to push my luck on that one. As ugly as that is, there's some surface mount components there, and I don't want to risk damaging those. I'm going to check the continuity between these, see if anything's changed. Not really feeling that blue wire. I think that's going to come off. So we've got continuity there. So that's a positive sign. So actually the only thing to do at this point is to take it like it is, put it in the Xbox and test it and see if it works before I try to put it back together and go from there. Alright, so I went ahead and I tested I plugged the headset into the controller and I tested it to make sure that they both, the headphone and the microphone worked, and they do, which is super lucky. So I will gently try as possible to put this back together. I'd really like to put some hot glue on that or something, but I don't think that there's room for that, and I'm still going to have to figure out some kind of strain relief as well. Let's see, so that was the outside. This went in that. Let's actually do it this way. Oops, that would be upside down. Okay, so and this one on there like that. So I've got to actually maneuver that wire over. That's awesome. Okay. So I think I'm going to grab a zip tie and see if I can work that in to see if I can't get a zip tie probably right up there. Hopefully that'll be enough to do some strain relief, because I tell you, I'm not confident that those connections are robust. So it actually feels pretty good. I'm pulling on that. I'm not getting any play or anything, so that's positive. I'm going to put the screws back in, and then I'm actually going to check again to make sure that it's still working, because I want to make sure that in moving the and actually before I do that, I need to actually take this off again. This is where things go south generally, is, oh, I forgot to put this thing on. Okay, let me just take this off real quick and put it on, and then you find out, oops, something broke, or I pulled the wires out. If I would have just left these little tab things, which are not wanting to stay in. Can I? What's this? This is a joke, right? Just. I had very good else brings there. Apparently, grease my fingers to actually do this. Okay. Which is not going to do. Just trying to keep the thing friendly. Just put some tape those and then just. No, seriously. Actually, worse isn't here. That's, so if I. Right, it's there's a cord line. And it could have, they just need to make those either a little tighter or. That's not understand. This right one is the B does not stay in. It doesn't stay in. Leave it. Okay. So let me get the board situated in there. Okay, and then before I laugh in success, I should probably wait till I get the other half on. Okay. It feels like it's in there. I got the tabs in there. Super. Okay. So, I'm going to go try this again. Okay. I'm going to put just a couple of screws in here. This one's all these pins. Maybe one other one. Just to shove one back. Just make sure it stays. I'm going to test again. Just make sure. This back on as well. Getting the volume limit beep out of the headset. So I know the headset's working, and the buttons are obviously all working. So the only question is to see if the mic is working. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3, and that is a... Okay, so I know the headset is working because I can, when I push the volume buttons, I'm getting the volume limiting tone in my ear. The mute button seems to work, at least the light's coming on. So I'm in a part where it's actually in the Xbox where it shows whether or not it's picking my voice up, and it looks like it is. And if I continue talking and I mute, then it goes away. So yeah, so that's working, and so I just need to put the rest of the screws back in, and then I think this will be fixed. I'm going to put the rest of the screws back in so that that is all the screws, and then we just have this that snaps on. There you go. Okay, so success, I guess. Pain in the butt to with those enamel wires. You know, these things are. I don't know. I don't know if those enamel wires are necessarily more cost-effective or cheaper or what, but I feel like I tend to see them, at least these ones that seem to be of a less quality, that were really hard to work with and get that coating melted off so that they would so that the wires would tin. Anyway, probably just, you know, cheaper wire. I've taken a fair share of like headset and audio type. That's where you actually see these things is in audio cables, where you have multiple wires running inside one main conduit like this, because you know, it can, I suppose it can reduce the chance, like if you know, first off, it may make it cheaper to actually run the wire, because you don't have to have individually, you know, coated wires like this. It probably makes it smaller, because, you know, if you take, you know, 4 wires like this that are individually coated, that's, you know, quite a bit bigger than what it would be as if you basically didn't have the insulation coating on any of these wires, and you just put a super thin enamel coating around them. So so that might be one reason, and the other reason might be, you know, is if you know, if you do have individually coated wires like this, you know, and they're rubbing together and stuff, if the coating on one wire, or actually it would have to be 2 wires, breaks, the actual plastic or silicone coating or whatever it may be, if that breaks, you still have that enamel coating, because again, these, all but one of the wires in this had an individual plastic coating on it. So maybe the thought is if the plastic coating breaks on a couple of wires, at least you have that enamel coating as a backup, so you're not causing a short. Who knows? Hopefully, maybe you gleaned something from that. I hope you did. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, of course, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.